Hey, what's up guys, welcome to the checkers game tutorial. So in this one, we start polishing the game a little bit. As you can tell right now we have the rail system going on. We've made a menu scene with the board, just placed some stuff here so it looks a little bit more organic. We've also created this little nice animation going on here when you actually turn into a king, so just have a look at that. And something really simple like that. It's a little bit stupid, but it adds a lot to the game in the end. So that's a little step we take today to polish our game a little bit. We're gonna keep on polishing this until it looks actually, decent enough to make a really good video on. So guys, without further ado, let's get right into it. Alright, so let's jump right into it. And first thing I'll do is actually grab scripts from my previous tutorials. If you just have a look on my channel, you're going to be seeing there's one of those scripts called rail system, or one of the video called rail system, and we pretty much just created a rail system in which your camera can move around. I'm going to have some kind of overlay on the screen you can click on right now. So if you just want to check that out, I'm going to be reusing the same exact scripts I've done for those. So I've just imported those guys. I am going to just rename that for rail, drag and drop it inside of my script folder, and we're going to try and just set up a rail. Now, I'm going to do that in the menu scene actually. So we're going to start with the menu scene. In my menu scene, I'd like to have the board and just have, like a good vision on the 3D scene as well, so we can just move around that. And just having this board by itself is going to be a little bit, that's a little bit empty. The scene seems to be a little bit empty. So what I will be doing at the same time is I will import. Let's go ahead and just import environment. I'm going to grab just like water, because water looks so good in the standard asset pack. It actually looks quite well. So I'm going to grab the water, this one, not the basic, actually the new one. Why not? So simply grabbing this, I'm going to be putting it beneath the actual board, and just have a feel at what we get out of this. So here's my water. Right now it's not looking too great. I mean, we do have reflection, but it's not looking too great because we don't have a skybox. So we kind of need a skybox as well. And I might actually head over to the asset store and grab something, or grab some other assets I have on my side. But I'm basically just trying to create a 3D scene that doesn't look too bad. So what I'll be doing, this is only for me guys. If you want to like do something else, it's up to you. I'll go ahead and just go on the asset store. There is one skybox that are free, one kit that is free, and it is looking quite good. I really recommend you use it because I don't know, it's just free and it looks great. It is the fantasy skybox, but there is one that's free, so I'll just type it in up here, skybox and fantasy. Here it is. Download that, and it has 5-star, really good. Well, actually it has 4 stars. Either way, I'm not going to import the whole thing. I'm simply going to import the texture. Actually, nothing else but the texture. And also the readme, because I'm a polite person. Nice. Now with this in hand, I should have my texture. We'll also have the GUI animator. I'm not quite sure why this is here. Don't really want that. All I wanted really was the texture. And with this, we can create a new material. This is going to be my skybox material, and then you get to choose whether we want this to be night or day. In my case, I'll put that on a 6-sided cube map, and I'll just go ahead and use the night one. So back, this would be this guy. Down, this is down. I really like the way it's named. I don't even have to think about it too much. It just matches the name of this. You can also have a preview if you click down here. And what else do I need left? We also need right, and finally up. So my skybox is pretty much ready to go. I'm going to just go ahead and drag and drop this on my sky, and this is what we end up with. So I really do enjoy the feel it gives us. Maybe boost the size of this water a little bit. And this is what we end up having when we try to play the game. So as you can tell, there's like some water going on here. That's pretty cool. What else could we have on top of this? Well, this is a game scene, so I don't really have, I don't really want to have anything else in here. But what I'll do is I'll grab the board and also the water, move them over to the other scene, so my menu scene. And on this scene, however, what I'm going to do, oh wait, we forgot the borders as well. So border, board, and water. On this scene, what I'm going to do is actually go on my board and remove this thing here. This script must not be ran. We don't even need a collider in this case. So really just customize thing a little bit. Don't need the collider. I don't need, all I need really is just the mesh renderer in this case. And let's drag and drop our skybox. So where is our skybox? Here it is. So we end up having this result, but now this result is inside the menu scene as well. And it's not running anything. That's really important though. We must not run any script on this. Now what I will be doing is just give this a look here. Just give this a good looking feel to it. And I am going to use some artwork. So let's say the black piece and maybe the white piece. I'll just go grab their base model and just position that around a little bit, I'll put the material on it. You can also swap it on the other side to see the king side. Maybe stack it, say here. And they don't need, this is only for look purpose. They don't really need to be on the grid perfectly fine. In fact, I'm going to stack them just like that, just to give it some kind of natural feel to it. I don't know, like just something like that. At this point, we're in the menu scene. Just remember, we're in the menu scene up here, so we are going to be seeing these buttons as well. Now, nothing on the board is movable. Like I said, this is only for decoration purpose. At this point, I like to just grab my camera and start doing our rail system with it. Now, like I said, you're gonna be remembering at all time that you have some UI on top of that, so you're not really allowed to focus anything with the camera, because that's just how it is. I mean, the focus is not on the background. The focus is really on the menu itself at this point. So let's go ahead and just start laying down. Oh wait, let me clean my scene first. Grab all those pieces, put them beneath the board, and then we are going to start creating our rail. Now if you remember, what we've done is we simply created empty game object. In my case, I create cubes, but then I'll remove the mesh on top of it. I'll create a cube, remove the collider, make sure that this is aligned with view, so my cube now takes this spot, and this is going to be my rail. Okay, so with my rail right now, what I am going to do is we need some nodes beneath that, so I'll just copy another cube, put it as a children, and we'll be moving this one, say, over here with Control-Shift-F to do a align with view, but that's the keybind you do. And also on this one, you must remove the rail script, so there's only one rail. Alright, so let's go ahead and just try to regenerate that. We have that cube. We still don't have that cube because this one needs a node component. Yeah, I totally forget about that. Sorry, I tend to forget what I do sometimes. Okay, so this one is the rail and this one is a node. Now they contain a link in between of them. Can we actually see that link? We can't see it right now, but as you can tell, we have division from this one to the board. Now, I might want to bring this a little bit closer, so something like that. Oops. Something like this instead, then Control-Shift-F. Copy this cube, move another cube over here, and so on. You just, you play around this a little bit until you actually like what you see. Now, I'm going to be playing this pretty much in a loop, and I don't want this to go really, really fast. So, let's give this a try right here. I'm going to put a mover object on my camera. So mover, the rail is going to be this rail. So back on my camera, take the rail, just put it here. Let's start with a linear style here. This doesn't look too bad, and we can also add some kind of splash screen on top of that if you have some time, if you have some you can just create your own splash screen, put it at the very top hand side here, and would be looking quite good. Okay, so the rail looks just fine in this scene. What I feel like doing next, just to make this game a little bit more polished, is whenever we reach that side, whenever we reach the king's row, Instead of just swapping this 180 degree like we used to do, like in a single frame, I'd like to actually have an animation going on. Something like he goes in the air and then he does a couple of flips and just ends up on the king side. I'm going to bring up the window here, the animation window. Okay, so I'll be putting that on top of my console, why not? And we're going to create a new animation. This is going to be the white flip. And for some reason, when I've created my animation, my Unity just crashed, so I had to reset it. Let's go back to my white piece, try that again, hopefully it doesn't crash. This is the white flip. And it did work just now, okay. So we have a animator with a animation, I believe. Now at this point, I am just simply going to go ahead and just start creating that little animation I've talked about. So let's start with a position transform. In fact, I'll simply click on the record button, add some keyframes here for the transform on both position and also rotation. Okay, so this is on first frame, and then I think that's a full second what we have here. So let's make sure we have a little bit more than 1 second. Let's go for a 2 seconds animation. And in the middle of it, at 1 second, this is where we're going to be doing the actual peak of our flip. So let's go ahead and just try to do something like that. A few turns. And if we play it now, we get something like that, which is quite weird. But we can make this look good, I am sure of it. Multiply that per 2, so we're at 630 minus 630. We end up at this rotation, which is obviously not going to work out. Let's put it on, say, 1350, so that's going to be where we end. At this point, we flip like that. And we need to make sure our animation is not being repeated at the end. So how do we go about not replicating our animation? I think it's loop time here. Let's just uncheck that. Press play, and it flipped, landed on the good side, and then we're just gonna leave it there. So I feel like there's a little bit too much flips though, so we're just gonna be reducing the amounts of flips we have. Let's go with, say, minus 400 minus 270. Okay, minus 270 for this guy, and then what we'll do on this one is minus 570. That's not going to work. 620. Okay, so technically this should not look too bad. Okay, it's a little bit slow in the beginning, but that's totally normal. What we're going to do is just swap this, have curves instead, and just play with the curves instead. Okay, so as far as the position goes, as you can tell, that's the green line. I'd actually like to go up super fast at the beginning, so I'll just add some curves here. We'll go up super fast at the beginning, something like that, and then we'll slowly fall down to where we should be. So it's going to be something like that instead. And I don't dislike that, but I don't like it either. I mean, 2 seconds might be a little bit too long. And now I'd like to do the exact same thing with the rotation here. So I'll be grabbing the rotation that changes. In this case, that's the rotation X. And where is it exactly? I can't really find it. Oh, there it is. We are going to be slowing this down. Well, actually speeding this up and then slowing it down. So at this point, don't want it to be too fast, but faster than it is right now. So let's go ahead and just play with the curves a little bit. Maybe like this. Oh, I'm on the wrong side, so we want something like that instead. And then we have like a little nice pause to tell that we're now a king, which I think is quite cool actually. But we might want to rotate a little bit more than that. And you know what? I think I'm not going to rotate anymore once we reach the middle side. So what I think I'll be doing here is I'll just grab this keyframe and delete it. So we end up having something like that instead. It flips, looks here, and then it just falls flat on the on the king side. which is also something we might modify on this side as well, on the y-axis. Not y-axis, but the position y. Since we're now falling flat, I might just increase the speed as we are falling. So just bring this in a little bit closer. Oops. Just make sure you're on the same exact number as you were before, because you don't want to like go any higher. So just speed it up like that. And here we go. Right, so this is what I ended up with, in a nice little curve like that for the y-axis. So we go up super fast and then we gradually just slow down as we fall. And also we end up having the piece a little bit below where it should be right now, so that's very annoying. I believe that is because of the smoothing. So what I'll do is I'll just force it back to 0.1 right afterward, and hopefully it fixes my problem, and it does. So here's my little animation right here. It just flips and falls back right on the king side. So something like that. That's nothing too complicated. Now what we have to do at this point is, instead of calling that rotate, we need to be calling that play animation. That's something, however, I've never really done in the past because I don't mess around with animation too much. Okay, so now once our animation is complete, say on the white piece, we're going to transfer this over to the black piece, simply by dragging the animation, I believe, and that's going to work. So if we press play now, we have a look. We have both pieces playing. However, they're playing on top of this very position here, and that's not something we can allow. So to have this work on pretty much any object at any places, we need to move the mesh, the visual mesh, away from this actual container here. The way we're going to do this is by creating another game object. I'll just call this WP in this case for a white piece, and I'll drag and drop a white piece beneath WP. Now the P script, I want it to be on WP, the container itself, so we end up having something like that. Let's also move this at an appropriate place, so maybe say here. Well, let's just put it in the middle like we did. And what else do we need to move on top of this guy? I don't think we need to move anything else. I think that's really it here. And if we press play, it actually starts from a really weird position actually. Let us just find out what happened here. Now the weird position we get is because the children of it is not positioned properly. So the children should be at 0, 0, 0. Then we can move WP back to an actual position that's going to work. So say here. Now we still get a little bit of problem here with the offset. For some reason this one actually jumps on top of the one here. But we just have to play around with this until we actually figure out what's going on. So what exactly is my problem here? And I just realized that I've added some keys by mistake here earlier because I was still in recording mode. So as you can tell now my piece goes from here and it just jumps on the other one for no reason really. So I'm going to just get rid of those things here, and hopefully I got rid of the right thing, and nope, I didn't. So what else do I need to actually fix? We're never really moving in X, so I'm going to take all the X and just remove them. So those are the guy over here. Can I just remove the X? It doesn't seem to work like that. Well, let's just make sure that every X is on 0. So here, put that back on 0. Here as well, and here as well. Now there's also going to be the Z. Let's leave it like that. And our animation, now we need to toggle off the recording so we don't end up like having the same problem as I did right now. So at this point should work wherever it is really. So take this, move it here and here, and they should all be at different places. And it seems like they're not because I didn't duplicate the WP. I've duplicated the white piece beneath that. Let's try with the container of that object now. And it does work. Okay, so that's exactly what we needed in the end. Now, we're not going to be spawning white pieces or black pieces anymore as prefab. We're going to be spawning WP and also BP when we create it. So where is our black piece? Here it is. That's the prefab. I think this one actually is working. As you can tell, we didn't really break it. We are going to be creating a empty object for that, so let's call this BP in caps. have this guy as a children of BP. Move this to 0, 0, 0. Maybe fix the rotation while we're here. And what else do we need to do here? Oh yeah, we need to transfer over the BP script, which is not here right now. We need to transfer it over to this guy. So piece is white is false, and this king is also false. Maybe also change the rotation of this so we don't end up being king right off the get-go. And here we go. That should actually be it. We are going to drag and drop this on black piece, and seems to be fixed now. And in order to actually test this out again, we have to modify the rel script a little bit because we're not able to use Unity Editor. So what I'll do is I'll just remove Unity Editor here. I'll remove the Undraw gizmo in my node script, and I'll go back inside of rel, remove Unity Editor, and also what else uses Unity, the editor in here? The Undraw gizmo as well. So either remove it or just put it in comments. I'll just comment this out, but I've deleted the rest. And we should not be able to build again. That's totally normal. That's because we're not able to use Unity Editor in build, which is also something that makes quite a lot of sense here. Alright, so once we've got our build working, we should end up with something like this. Let's go ahead and just say boot this here. This is going to be host, and we're playing. Whoa! And we end up with something like that. So the animation is pretty much just being played as soon as the game starts. However, we also have an offset in Z that we need to fix. But this should not be too much of a problem. Let's try to move this. As you can tell, we're still able to play. So we haven't broken anything, we just gave this a little offset. And we're also going to make sure that the animation is only being played when we reach the king side. The other black piece, this one has the animator on it. And now we want to be able to use this instead. So I think I have to drag and drop it somewhere to use it. So here we go. That's my black piece. Click on the other one, and then we get the animation. So position Z. So modify this to 0, and then this as well. No, just modify the whole thing. Just make sure the Z axis is always on 0. Now we do get this really weird movement here, which I do not like, and I don't know why. So I just pull the curves. And we'll have a look at the curves. For some reason it says it's 0, it's not actually 0. We have to remove those guys here. And this one as well. And it's way easier to just modify using the curves, so we'll do that next time. But we end up with a clean animation. Hopefully it's clean now, we don't have any problems with it anymore. We are going to remove the record mode, really important. And now make sure that the animation is not being played on stop. Now, how do we go about doing that? I'm not quite sure just yet. Now, as far as calling this from code, the only way I know how to do this is via the controller, this thing. I think we're going to go back instead of black piece and actually just create a condition that I'll call, well, that would be our white flip. So motion is white flip, but we don't want to be starting here. We want to be starting from a empty. So I don't want this to be connected to this guy. I want this to be connected to our new state. New state is going to be empty or null, or idle, you could say. Let's call this idle. And then from any state, if a condition is matched, then we go on a white flip. So create state, that's the white flip. I'll just call this flip here. And from any state, if this condition is met, the condition is going to be like the little arrow we just put here. We are going to create a new boolean, say, or a new trigger. That would be even better. So trigger and flip trigger. Now, if flip trigger is called, so we go in condition, flip trigger, we do the flip, and as soon as the flip is over, we exit because we don't need to like play any other animation anymore. So I think that's going to be our graph for this guy. We're going to duplicate that as well for the white piece. So same exact thing. Let's go back here, create a idle state. That's my idle. Then we create the flip state. So that's my flip. The animation on top of it is white flip. Take the any state, create a transition. The transition condition is going to be a parameter, a trigger parameter called flip trigger. And then once we're done with the flip, we exit. So something like that. Also make sure that you go under condition. We just put the flip trigger here. And again, same exact thing as our black piece. Okay, so now how do we go about calling this from code? And I'll actually give this a try. Go in the checkerboard. This is where I think we do our flips. Let's go inside of the checkerboard. We flip by 180 degrees, so that's around here. I'm in the endTurn function. And instead of doing this call, we are going to try something else. So we're going to try and do a selected piece.get component. We're getting the component animator. Set trigger. Can we set trigger? Can we call the trigger? And the int, let's not use an int, let's use the name we give it. So flip trigger. Let's actually try it like that, see if it works. Now I'm quickly going to play this to have a look at whether this works or not, and I will come back to you really soon. Alright, so let's give this a try right here. So I'm going to jump, then jump again, and also just to show you it's working on both sides. Here we go, and then when we release, we did get a problem here. There is no animator being, there's no animator on the white piece clone. So that is something quite bad. And they are right though. So on this piece, there is no animator. You have to go beneath it and actually get this animator. So what we're going to do instead is get component in children animator. And again, I'll just go try this out really quickly and I will come back to you really soon. Alright, so here we are. Let's try our set trigger. I'm going to move this piece down here. And as you can tell, we did get the flip on both hand side. However, it went back to this stupid state where it doesn't show that it's a king anymore. So we need to find a way to actually stay like that once we're done. Now, something I just figured out is that if you call the exit, you're going to go back to the original rotation, and that's not something we can really allow here. What I feel like doing is just removing the transition from flip to exit on both graph here, and give it a try like that. Now you might find a better way to do this. Like I said, I'm just really new with animation. This is my best attempt thus far. But if you know how to do it like in a proper way, please let me know. Leave me a comment on the video. That'd be really useful. Will help me in the future when I try to make those stupid animations. I'm just kidding. They're not really stupid. I'm just some guy that programs. I don't usually do that kind of stuff. But hey, we're trying to polish our game here. We're trying to just have it look good, so we have to do this from time to time. Right, so I'll quickly just have another setup to try this out, and I will come back to you really soon. Alright, so let's try this for the third time. We go here, we flip, and since we're not calling exit, it seems to have worked just fine. So let's go try it on the other side as well. Let me try to just bring a black piece over to this side. And for some reason I can't move anymore. What's going on? Oh, it's because I can actually kill somebody up here, so that's why. Well, it's going to take a little bit longer than I expected because of that. So let me just pause the video again, and I will come back to you really soon. Okay, so here we are with the black team now getting a king. It goes here, it flips, and it works. And I think that is where we're going to end up today's episode. We've done a lot of stuff, and I'm quite glad that we just implemented a little bit more in the scene, just added the rail system and also added this little animation. It doesn't look like much, but it does something good in the end. So guys, thanks a lot for watching. Leave a like if you appreciate this video, if you learned something, or if you just want to support me. That'd be also really cool. You can leave a comment in the section below. Check out the Facebook page, check out the Patreon page if you wish to support me in the making of those tutorials, and also the making of the future courses we're gonna have on the channel really soon. Guys, again, thanks a lot for watching, subscribe for more, and I will see you in the next one.